Download the free mobile app. You can play golf with Pete Thompson and I at this year's Pro-Am. No, I stink. McGarry, how are you on the golf course? You any good? Do you play a lot?
I haven't played golf in about something had to go in my life and golf went.
Were you good at any point?
I could shoot in the 90s at one point, but I just could not spend 5 hours on a Sunday or a Saturday out on a golf course. So I had to jettison something from my life, and golf went, basically.
All right, well, if you want to play with Pete and I, not you, Mike, because if you're not any good, I don't want you to be on my team.
Exactly.
If you're out there listening and you want to play with Pete and I, you can enter right now. Go to 973ESPN.com and get your entry in. We'll draw the winner on Friday's show during Happy Hour Friday with Pete Thompson at 4:40. All right, weekend reactions. Mike McGarry, let's start with the Eagles' loss yesterday. Missed opportunity or simply not a good team?
Not a good team. Lost to a better team. Let's put it to you this way. I think the 49ers are pretty good, and they kind of methodically imposed their will on the Eagles, especially from that mid-second quarter on. A game I did not expect the Eagles to win, and they came up short. And again, we talk week to week in the NFL, right? Last week was a bad week for guys like me who picked them to be 5-12, and a good week for people who said 10-11 wins. Well, yesterday I looked a little smarter, and the 10-11 win people looked like they were out over their skis a little bit.
Okay, but still, when you watch that, you feel like missed opportunities. That's a winnable game. That's what leaves you frustrated. Like, you understand it's a young team and yada, yada, but still a winnable game. So is there stuff to build off for that, or long season ahead?
I think long season ahead. You look at the NFL, all these games are winnable games. You can make an argument that the Falcons from the opening week are kicking themselves because they drove inside the 5-yard line twice and came away with 6 points. They could say, hey, if we had just gotten 2 touchdowns against the Eagles, maybe that game would have worked out differently. We talked about the Giants last Saturday, right? Or last Friday. Winnable opportunities there. That's life in the NFL. Good teams take advantage of those opportunities. Bad teams don't.
Yeah, I know yesterday Nick Sirianni took a lot of the blame. I mean, there was a good possibility they could have been up 17-0 in that game had the couple things gone a little differently. The Philly special play that they run, awful play design. They didn't have anybody out in the pattern. Nobody. That, and then Reagor steps out of bounds. If he can stay in bounds, they're up 17-0 there, and we might have a different conversation today.
Yeah, the impression that I'm getting from Sirianni is just that, and I like a lot of the stuff he's done. I like his enthusiasm, but he's almost trying too hard to me, right? He shows up to a press conference wearing Phillies gear. He's got the Iverson T-shirt on before yesterday's game. He calls a poor man's Philly special. He's just, you want to get in Eagles fans' good graces, just win some games.
Yeah.
Leave the wardrobe aside. He just seems to be trying too hard, and the play calling after the 91-yard completion of Watkins was shaky at best, and the poor man's Philly special, was the coup de grace on a poor series.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not even so much the play call; the play design was terrible. There was nobody out on the route. The one route with Ertz, he was the only guy out there. I mean, all 4 of the play calls were really just bad designs. There was not a lot of options on any of them.
Right, and I think he's the type of guy that he'll fix that. But one of the reasons I sort of picked the Eagles to win 5 games this year is I thought the rookie coaching staff would have their share of growing pains. And I think yesterday you look at some of those play designs and play calls where you're exactly right. They had one receiver out in the pattern on the Phillies special play and a play earlier in that. I think those are growing pains that a first-year coaching staff is going to have. I mean, I'm sure he'll correct those mistakes, but they were going to have some issues with the coaching staff, and I think it showed yesterday.
Yeah, I know a lot of times you talk about trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and maybe that's something that Sirianni got caught up into a little bit yesterday, was trying to outsmart everybody. Because what happened week 1, Mike? Well, they didn't take any shots down the field. Well, they didn't really need to. Well, yesterday it was almost like, well, they said we didn't take any shots last week. This week we'll try to show you that we can throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, and they did throw it successfully.
Once.
right? They got the 91-yard play, and Rager steps out of bounds and comes back in, so that negates that play. But I think you hit on something there, and it's kind of what I'm getting to with the Ward, with the wearing the Philly shirts and the Iverson shirts and stuff like that. He's just trying too hard at times. You know, you got the ball inside the 5-yard line, just run it, or call some basic plays. You don't have to wow us and score at the same time. We'll be wowed if you score.
And, Mike, they ran the ball for 5.2 yards a carry. Now, a lot of that it's aided by Hurts with 8.2 yards per carry. But the strong suit of this team is that offensive line. Let's see that line down inside the 5, push some people around.
Right, but the one factor you got coming out of yesterday's game is the injuries, and that's another reason why I thought, everybody who had them up around 10, 11 wins said, boy, if that offensive line stays healthy, they're going to be very good. And my position was that offensive line is not staying healthy, and it took to the second game of the season for a key injury to happen on the offense and defensive lines. This is football, guys get hurt.
Yeah,
and that's going to test the depth of a team that, because of its cap situation, does not have a lot of depth. Yeah,
Landon Dickerson, a lot of people said, why in the second round? Well, he was forced into action already yesterday, and it's likely that, we should find out here momentarily. I think I don't know what time Sirianni talks. They used to send out.
Starting right about now.
Right, they used to send out like the list of what time he would talk.
Right,
it used to be noon for every other coach. I guess Sirianni changed the time. I think it's like 2:45 now, but we should get some more information. Losing Brandon Graham, though, Mike, I mean, if this team was going to surprise people, you can't – injuries are going to happen, but you can't lose Brandon Graham's level of player.
Yeah, I mean, and he's the heart of that team, right? And the defense has really played well so far this season, and it's really been a strong point, and it's going to be tested Monday night in Dallas. So that's, losing him and losing the other Brandon are both big losses for what you thought were going to be the strength of the team, the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah, so 2 big injuries. We'll see if we get an update on Brandon Brooks. I'm sure that will be one of the first questions as Nick Sirianni is now meeting the media, and we'll see if we get an update on that coming up in just a bit. All right, Mike, so Dallas wins their game, so you got 2 1-1s. You obviously the Giants lose, so you've got 3 1-1s and then the Giants. So is this a law? This game on Monday night coming up all of a sudden becomes kind of intriguing because Philly doesn't play another division game until November the 28th after Monday night.
Right, and this is a big stretch for the Eagles because they want to make sure that November division game actually means something. And to make that mean something, they've got to sort of survive this stretch. The other thing that happened yesterday is you look after week 1, you kind of look at the Eagles' schedule coming up and you say, well, they can go to Las Vegas and win, and they can go to Carolina and win. But now, after what happened yesterday, the Raiders are 2-0. Carolina beats up a New Orleans team that beat up Green Bay last week. So all of a sudden, that looks like a little bit of a tough game. So, and of course, the Chiefs and Tampa Bay are in there also. So, and Dallas. So this is a big 5-game stretch for the Eagles. They want to make sure they've got to go 2-3 during this stretch, or to make sure that those late division games mean something.
That's why you have a home game. On paper, well, you were an underdog, but it was a winnable game in the moment, and you lose that, and now you got to play Dallas, the Chiefs, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Vegas in a stretch
Not
here.
easy.
Not easy.
Not
All right,
easy.
Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. You talk about a schedule. Well, the Phillies, their schedule lightens up significantly, and we've talked a lot about it, but what's the takeaway from their 2 out of 3 weekend? They were within a game on Saturday. Now, Atlanta won yesterday, and Philadelphia lost last night. But we're running out of time. They've got Baltimore. Atlanta is in Arizona right now. So did they do anything this weekend to make you feel like, this is going to be interesting?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting. Arizona, as you said, Atlanta on the road on the West Coast against Arizona and San Diego. Arizona's a bad team. They play better at home. The Padres are falling apart. Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis going nose-to-nose in the dugout the other night in St. Louis. They've got the same record as the Phillies, 76-73. But the Phillies have the Baltimore Orioles, who are the worst team in baseball, and the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are the second worst team in the National League. And so they've got an opportunity here. The thing I take away, though, from this weekend is just how tough it is to come from behind. The reason we remember 2007 and 7 back with 17 to play. The reason we remember those great comebacks is because they don't happen that often. And you saw this week what happens. One game makes it a lot tougher, right? The Phillies do a good job. They take 2 or 3 from the Mets. The Giants hang on. They get the one game in San Francisco, or Atlanta hangs on, gets the one game in San Francisco. All of a sudden, you're 3 back in the loss column with 13 to play, which is tough. It's really tough to make up ground this time of year. The opportunity is there, but it's tough to accomplish.
Well, Mike, I think we all can agree. If you can't take care of business with Baltimore and Pittsburgh before you play Atlanta, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, you have to go, I would think, 5-2 minimum. Ideal would be 7-0, but I'd take 6 out of 7, but 5-2 on this 7-game stretch minimum. I've always said what you want to do is you want to get to Atlanta a game back of Atlanta. They play Atlanta 3 games next week. Get there a game out.
By the way, Nick Sirianni just said Brandon Brooks is going on the injury reserve, but he is not done for the year. He has a strained pec. He did confirm that Brandon Graham is Achilles, and he is done. So the Brandon Brooks news, I guess, he's out a minimum of, 3 weeks or 4? What's the IR, 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
Yeah, but they're 3 big weeks, right? I mean, Dallas, and then it's Tampa, right? And then Carolina, I believe.
Dallas,
right?
Kansas City, Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Okay, so 3 weeks. And again, here's what I say all the time when it comes to injuries and professional football teams. I'll believe Brandon Brooks is playing again when I see him on the field. That's the case. I'm not teams. I don't think teams lie. I think they're putting out the best prognosis possible, but injuries are injuries. Look at Zach Eflin in the Phillies. He was supposed to miss 1 or 2 starts and be back. Now he's not going to be back till May. I believe pro athletes are back from injuries when they're actually before my eyes on the field.
Well, so, I hear what you're saying. At least it's good to hear that, at least hopefully, that it is not a
season
ending. Right.
Yeah.
Now, Landon Dickerson will likely make his first start on Monday Night Football in Dallas against the Cowboys. It's a strained right pec, according to the coach, not believed to be season-ending there. All right, that's what we got there. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, some weekend reactions. Obviously, the high school football was big this weekend. You had a couple of big rivalry matchups that I guess fell flat a little bit.
Yeah, Ocean City goes out in the mainland, wins that game 34-6. St. Augustine tops St. Joe 24-7 and sets up a big week coming up. We've got St. Augustine going to Millville. St. Augustine 3-1, Millville 3-0. That's a big game in Millville on Friday night. And the other takeaway, hey, Ocean City's given up 6 points all year. Cedar Creek, they beat GAMI 55-0. Cedar Creek hasn't given up a point all season long. They're 4-0. That'll be tested when they host Woodrow Wilson on Saturday. So those are your 2 big games kind of coming up this week. St. Augustine, Millville Friday, Cedar Creek, Woodrow Wilson Saturday.
All right, there you go. Big weekend. It was a lot of fun. Of course, the weekend, as always, it moves fast. Week 2 is almost over. Monday Night Football tonight right here on 97.3 ESPN. Lions and Packers. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers has called it quits, or is he on the revenge tour tonight? Listen to that game here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Mike, good to see you, pal.
All right, we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks.
That's Mike McGarry, brought to you by Calvi Electric, now offering residential service for your home and business online at calvielectric.com. They bring Mike McGarry's appearances here on the Sports Bash.